Well, if we're talking about honesty, then the central honesty this whole thing demands is that there is no climate catastrophe. That's the honesty that we need. There is no climate catastrophe. Climate change is happening. It will affect various countries in various different ways, but it's quite clear it is not the catastrophe that we're being told. It is a religious ideology at this point, which seeks to advance its tentacles into every area of our lives through religious methods. That's why they don't give you the figures. That's why the UN climate reports don't say any of the things that the media or the climate
That's a really important point.
They don't say anything like what we're being told is actually happening.
And no one's ever told that the modelling on what it all means is all low confidence.
Yeah.
So the Bank of England now has to take, as I understand it, climate change into consideration when it's thinking about interest rates. How do you do that? We couldn't get the modelling right on COVID. What are our chances of knowing what climate change is going to...
Like, there is a pretty wide, what would you call it, wide tail. There's a lot of different outcomes that could happen, but haven't we been, like, pretty consistently, like, moving through one of the worst predictions in terms of the, global temperature changes? Like, I think this is like the current track if we do nothing or something, and then this is like, it's got a very wide tail, so like it could look like this, and it could look like this, and then people are like, wow, this is very low confidence data, so like what a joke. But like, I'm pretty sure, I think our trajectory through this has kind of been like, isn't our trajectory through this right now like here? Like, aren't we on the bad end of this right now? Where it's like, well, we have low confidence. It's like, okay, yeah, but what is that? What is that supposed to mean when we say that? But I don't know. Whatever. Who knows? We'll have a few more melted airports in the UK, and then maybe people take it seriously. But whatever.
going to mean when the ICPP itself says its modelling on possible impacts is uncertain and low confidence?
And that
word
modelling is central because we're being told that it's climate science. And when you think about science, what we're thinking about is...
Oh, man, he's about to make the worst statements about science in the fucking history of all of science. Maybe he'll be wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe he won't say this. Maybe he won't say what I think he's about to say. When I think about science, I think about measuring things predictively, and I think about having a very precise model that directly 100% predicts with high degrees of confidence what's going to happen in the future, especially in models that have 50 million fucking variables in them. Science is a process that always gives us highly accurate predictions in the future with high degrees of precision all the time, no matter how many variables we're accounting for. Maybe he's not about to say that, though. Sorry.
Modelling is central because...
I'm triggering myself with my own fantastical delusions.
We're being told that it's climate science. And when you think about science, what we're thinking about is, if I pick up this glass and let it go, we know scientifically that such a thing as gravity exists and the glass will fall to the ground.
Like, it's just the ultra ironic part is he brings up the one fundamental force that we actually have no accounting for scientifically whatsoever. It's like the number one thing that we cannot account for right now is how gravity even works. And that's the one thing that he goes to point to like our high degree of understanding of like, oh, well, you know, we have a really good, like, it doesn't matter. Sorry.
The climate stuff is modeling. Now, as you say, we've seen in recent years that modeling isn't always as reliable as one might hope.
And then if you talk to any science educator, the thing they will tell you is every single model you learn is a lie, okay? But every model you learn is a little bit better than the last one, okay? But that's it. Models are just models. Like generally they work to some level of predictability, but they're not always like ultra predictable. It just depends on what you're looking at. And like some representations, like believe it or not, okay? This isn't actually like a hydrogen atom doesn't actually look like this. You know this, right? This isn't actually in real life. If you looked at one, if you could finally fucking see one, it doesn't actually look like this, you know? It's just like,
to put it mildly, and that's before you have political interests that are clearly involved in it and economic interests. There are people who stand to lose from the pursuit of net zero, and you know, I have no doubt the coal and oil companies don't want us to pursue that, and perhaps will deliberately be willfully blind about the impact of their pollution and emissions. But on the other hand, we have to acknowledge that green industry people have an incentive to amplify the scale of the disaster, or so-called disaster. So there is a lot of politicization of something that isn't actually science in the conventional, ordinary man in the street understanding of that word anyway. And so to pursue suicidal economic policy. People just, I hope that your team can flash up a graph that Bjorn Lomborg showed me yesterday of electricity cost in the UK, energy cost in the UK versus China, US, and other countries. And you can see that we are literally making ourselves poorer for ideological reasons. While, let me remind...
But I was never taught this doesn't gravity exist because of the pull of large objects. How do we not know where gravity comes from? No, you are right. That's why when your mom's ass gets fatter, my dick gets pulled into it even more. Over and over again. Hell yes.